Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA. And our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all the transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at Iron Port Ghana. Iron Port Ghana. We shall be getting interactive with you, and all you have to do is sit back, relax, and grab your phones, and then send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177. 059-019-177. We shall, at the appropriate time, get to read them to the rest of the world. When the time is ripe and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come. Mommy, boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Fuel up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from GWEL.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for GWEL Super XP Ron 95. GWEL, good energy. GWEL is good energy. Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
You're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, in the course of the week, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority had cause to commission 2 state-of-the-art post-Panamax tugboats, and these were named after 2 distinguished former Directors General of the Port Authority, that's the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, in the persons of Group Captain Edward Alexander A. Awuvri and Mr. Nestor Persigali. The Deputy Minister for Transport, the Honorable Hassan Tampuli, had the opportunity of commissioning these tugboats on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Transport. Plus, the fact that the Ghana Shippers Authority has also intensified education on how to avoid demurrage. And then the Customs Brokers Association of Ghana also has held its 2nd ever annual general meeting since the inception of the association. Let's take a look at these stories and more.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has commissioned 2 new diamond tugboats as part of efforts to fortify the efficiency of the ports of Ghana. The 2 heavy-duty tugboats, which can berth any post-Panamax vessel, were christened after 2 former Director Generals of the Port Authority, namely Group Captain Retired Edward Alexander Awuvri and Nestor Persigali. They are expected to play a crucial role in ensuring the efficiency and safety of Ghana's maritime activities and also contribute to the prosperity and progress of the nation. Speaking at an impressive ceremony, a Deputy Minister of Transport, Alassane Tampoli, who represented the Minister of Transport, said, with the expansion at Terminal 3 at the Port of Tema and ongoing initiatives to bring in some of the world's largest merchant ships, it is useful to expand the port's marine operational capabilities. He said, for Ghana to compete favorably in today's maritime space, infrastructure and modern equipment must be provided, and that is what government set out to support and encourage since taking office.
This occasion further demonstrates our commitment to fostering economic growth, ensuring maritime safety, and positioning Ghana as a beacon of maritime excellence in the West African sub-region. Government's commitment to port and maritime sectors in general, indeed, is clear with the significant investments in infrastructure and service improvements across our ports.
The board chairman of GPHA, Isaac Osei, said the commissioning of tugboats, coupled with the massive expansion works at the port of Takoradi, lay credence to the premium the government places on the enhancement and improvement of infrastructure in the ports.
In a world where maritime safety is paramount, it is additionally vital to know that these tugboats have inbuilt firefighting apparatus to help in the mitigation of fire incidents. So by investing in these powerful and versatile tugboats, we are not only addressing the current needs of our ports, but we are also looking at the marine capabilities to accommodate the evolving demands of the shipping industry in the future.
The Director General of GPHA, Michael Lugoje, paid glowing tributes to the 2 former Director Generals for their strength, resilience, and dedication to duty they exhibited during their tenure.
As for our 2 distinguished former DGs that we are honoring, I think we'll need one whole week to tell you the history. I can only say congratulations. We are proud of them for all the work they've done. Group of Captain Awuvri for being the founding father of GPHA when 3 different state agencies had to merge into one. You can imagine, even us struggling with just one GPHA, it's not easy. And somebody has to make 3 distinguished organizations into one and get them to set up and work effectively. You can imagine the trouble he went through at that time as the head and all his team members who work with him. So congratulations. We are very proud of you. God bless you for preparing the grounds for some of us to continue. Mr. Gali, of course, 32 years serving Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority at various levels, not just in Ghana. He was the one Ghana chose to go and help Sierra Leone reform their ports.
The honorees expressed their gratitude to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority for recognizing their contribution to the Port Authority.
Please accept my humble thanks for a great honor you bestowed me. It is my prayer that the crew of this tugboat will work as tirelessly as I've worked for Mother Ghana. And remember, the good God will reward you abundantly. I want to thank the board, the management for the honor done me by naming this craft after me. Like I said, I spent 33 years.
The Ghana Shippers Authority has intensified its education on demurrage and the need for players in the port sector to ensure that demurrage charges are reduced drastically. The latest of these seminars, which has been held in Tema, brought together stakeholders like the Customs Division of GRA, Ghana Link Network Services Limited, freight forwarders and shipping lines, among others. The head of the Tema branch of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Charles Darling Asiedu, said, disclosed that demurrage and detention and other time-related costs impact negatively on the shipper, thereby eroding the cargo interest holders' capital and in the long run affect the prices of goods and services in the economy of Ghana. He said the Ghana Shippers Authority has consistently and constructively waged a campaign on demurrage costs, which have seen the decline of estimated demurrage payments from 76 million USD in 2017 to 27 million USD in 2019, with a further decline to 19 million USD in 2021.
The downward trajectory of these figures bears eloquent testimony of the impact of the combined effect of the sensitization campaign and the very bold government initiatives and interventions in the cargo clearance process, like the paperless port project and pre-arrival declaration in ICOMS.
Despite the decline in estimated demurrage cost over the period, he said the authority is poised to continue with its sensitization drive to push the cost at the port to the barest minimum in the interest of shippers. The head of freight and logistics at the Ghana Shippers Authority, Fred Asiedu Date, touched on issues of overstayed charges at the MPS Terminal 3.
It's a charge that is adding up to the cost of doing business, and we thought that it's something we need to engage MPS about and then ensure that we are able to resolve those issues. There are issues also regarding weekend work. So, for instance, the shipping lines won't be in their offices over the weekend. However, those weekends count.
Assistant Commissioner General Duties at the Customs Division of GRA, Elizabeth Potaki, said Customs was committed to facilitating trade at the ports of Ghana.
If the documents are presented early enough, we'll be able to work through everything, and there will be no problems with demurrage from our end. Our officers are able and ready to work.
The co-chairman of the GIF monitoring team, Romeo Fimpon, said demurrage is avoidable.
It's an extra charge. You can choose to pay or not. All right? And we're going to look at how we can avoid this extra charge. It is always important to take note that when we get used to best practices, we will always avoid this extra charge.
After 5 years, the Customs Brokers Association of Ghana, QBAG, has held its second ever annual general meeting in light of the association's ongoing evolution. The association's over 3 decades of existence have been fraught with a number of administrative challenges, leading to the formation of the Interim National Executive Committee in 2021 to usher in a new dawn. Since then, the association has been gradually undergoing reforms that will ensure that the professional body stands the test of time. Under the theme Consolidating the Gains of the Transition for Success in an Ever-Changing Industry, this year's AGM brought together QBAG members and key stakeholders in the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua. Chairman of the meeting and Oman Hene of the New Joabin traditional area, Dasebre Kweku Boateng II, encouraged the association to improve upon the gains made since the last AGM.
Some of these gains include, but not limited to, the following: going digital from the old ways of doing things or business, ensuring a problem-free import by doing their homework well, avoiding delays and damages to cargo by ensuring custom papers are complete, accurate, and submitted on time. And then finally, representing their clients to the best of their abilities.
The acting president of QBAG, Nana Fredua Jimanoforiata, stated that the association's AGM will be a permanent fixture moving forward.
Although we are not exactly proud of our record with regards to some of these things, our compatriots have done so many. They are in their 20-something years and counting. But let us not also lose sight of the fact of our history. We have come a very long way. Let us acknowledge, in acknowledging the efforts and sacrifices of our founding members and predecessors, learn the valuable lessons from their shortcomings so as not to relent in our efforts at restructuring to reposition QBAG as a trade association par excellence.
Key stakeholders present shared some goodwill messages.
Ghana Link Network Services Limited, is proud to stand in solidarity with the Customs Brokers Association of Ghana. We look forward to the outcomes of this AGM, and we are confident that the discussions and resolutions will further strengthen our partnership and contribute to the overall advancement of our industry.
The authority looks forward to enriching our collaboration with the Committee of Freight Forwarder Associations, of which QBAG is an integral part. We have already proposed the post-clearance audit and placement of marine insurance locally as some of the potential areas of our collaboration in the ensuing year.
I am confident that with your dedication, collaboration, and innovation, we can build a more efficient, transparent, and prosperous trading environment for the benefit of all Ghanaians. Let us all look forward to charting the next phase of this journey of transformation together.
The management and staff of Port of Takoradi, together with its customers, commercial and regulatory stakeholders, congregated at the GPHA Takoradi Senior Staff Clubhouse Auditorium for a carol service and festival of 9 lessons to usher in the festive season. The Port's director, managers, customers, commercial and regulatory stakeholders took turns and read 9 Bible verse lessons from the books of Genesis, Isaiah, Luke, Matthew, and John, interspersed with choral songs by the Takoradi Efiekuman Christ the King Catholic Youth Choir and the GPHA Port of Takoradi in-house staff choir. The director of Port of Takoradi, Peter Mobediako, expressed gratitude to the port community for their immense support and commitment to the port business throughout the year. He assured them of the Port of Takoradi's commitment to creating an efficient and business-friendly environment for their business to thrive.
We are very much humbled by the mercies of the good Lord Jesus Christ, who keeps us perfect and blesses us with great gift that makes us share His love together. If we want to look back, starting from January, if we were to see the things that the good Lord has prevented from happening to us, if it was a film that was supposed to be shown to us, we would have been surprised.
The Port's Estate and Environment Manager, David Helm, delivered a spiritual call to action Christmas message in the spirit of Christ as the Son of the living God.
Let's rise and let's pray the man for our people. Let's pray the man for GPHA. Let's pray the man for Motherland. Let's pray the man for Takoradi Port.
board, management and staff of Ghana's #1 oil marketing company, GOIL PLC, have come together to praise God for another successful year of business. The service was also used to ask for God's grace and guidance for the incoming year. The all-white affair saw the GOIL family treated to praise and worship songs from famed music trio Daughters of Glorious Jesus, as well as performances from other music groups. The board chairman of GOIL, Reginald Daniel Laye, represented by board member Stephen Tingan, was full of praise to God for maintaining GOIL as the market leader.
It's been a challenging year, but with God on our side, I think GOIL continues to be the market leader in the oil marketing companies industry. And I think for that, we have to continue to thank God for his unflinching support for the company and to see us through to this day.
Group CEO and Managing Director of GOIL, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, stated that despite the year being very challenging, GOIL was able to bring major projects to completion.
Our projects, glory be to God, within the year, our bitumen project, we've completed and we've started sales. Our cylinder recirculation, we've completed and done everything. By January, we're going commercial. Our auto gas, we completed and we are selling, we are using it. Everything. So amidst all the challenges, if we count our blessings and name them one by one, all we can say is that praise be to you, God, you've done well for us.
He paid tribute to deceased members of the GOIL family, including the late Alex Josiah Adzu, who last served as Chief Operating Officer of the company.
I want to crave your indulgence to do one thing. This year, we lost 3 members of the company. Key among them is one of the masterminds behind this fellowship, Reverend Alex Adzu, our Chief Operating Officer, and 2 others, Amegachi and another one. Can we please stand up and observe just a minute silence?
All right, so it's now time for us to take a look at the happenings in the port and shipping industry on the international stage.
The Maritime and Ports Authority of Singapore has called for an expression of interest for the supply of methanol as a marine bunker fuel in the port of Singapore. The expression of interest seeks to gather proposals for end-to-end methanol bunkering solutions scheduled to be implemented in Singapore in 2025. This includes methanol storage, supply and delivery of methanol, quality assurance plans, safe handling of methanol, and emergency response measures, and the required manpower and expertise for methanol bunkering operations in the port of Singapore. This initiative aims to secure a resilient methanol supply, aligning with the anticipated influx of methanol-capable vessels in the coming years, thereby addressing the international bunkering needs in the port of Singapore. China's software developer, COSCO Shipping Technology, has become the latest company to join 1C as the International Autonomous Shipping Association continues to expand its geographical footprint following a period of significant growth in 2023. COSCO Shipping Technology, a subsidiary of COSCO Shipping Group, one of the largest shipping and logistics companies in the world, is the 6th company to join 1C this year. Bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience in the development of autonomous shipping technologies, COSCO Shipping Technologies is also the first association member from China.
All right, so let's now take a look at the word or phrase of the day. And remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies, jargons, and words we use in the shipping industry. Today's word is container pool. Container pool.
Container pool refers to an agreement between parties that allows the efficient use and supply of containers, a common supply of containers available to the shipper as required.
All right, so welcome back. And tonight we're taking a look at the Atlantic tunas and the impact of the closure of vessels that are into this particular trade. And this is because there is a closure or a ban from the 1st of January through to March thereabouts. We are bringing you details tonight, and I just want to go through what ICAT is. That's the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, and they actually regulate how the tuna business is done in the Atlantic. And Ghana is a signatory and a contractual party to this particular agreement. And so we are also obliged to comply with whatever rules they come up with. And so let me just go through it, and then we can set the discussion in context, and then bring you what details we have for you tonight. And so Ghana, like I said, is a contracting party of the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna. So that's ICAT. It's called ICAT. And ICAT is responsible for the management of tuna and tuna-like species. And it makes decisions and recommendations by consensus for the management of tuna within the Atlantic. Decisions are made based on scientific research by the scientific wing of ICAT. That's the Standing Committee on Research and Statistics. Now, decisions are made on the total allowable catch and the distribution of the same, and the total FAD. FAD is the fish, what do we call it? Fish aggregating devices. Tonight we'll tell you what that means. Fish aggregating devices allowed to be deployed in the period of closure. Now, ICAT meets at a general plenary once every year in November to make decisions. And for 2024, the closure is from the 1st of January through to the 13th of March 2024. And so tonight, that's what we're looking at, what the impact would be, for fish consumption in our country, and what it will be for the business as well. And so we have no other than our own Mr. Rixta Na Amafio, Rixta Na Ni Ama Amafio, who is coming to help us digest this particular issue. He is the Executive Director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult, and he is into the tuna business. Remember, he's also the Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association. So if you can switch on your microphone, sir, and let me say good evening and welcome to Iron Port once again.
Good evening, bro.
The year is getting to a close, and we couldn't have gotten a much, better guest than you to come and help us as we gear towards wrapping up.
That's a big flatter. Anyway, I'm humbled.
Yes. So first of all, I want you to tell us. I know you've had close working relations with ICAT because of your portfolio as Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, and you work hand in hand with them, and you know intricately what they do. Can you bring us up to speed with what ICAT is about? That's the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas.
Thank you very much. I think that I'm in the tuna industry, and Ghana, as a member of ICAT, requires that those of us who are in industry are also part of ICAT.
Yeah.
And so we attend annual ICAT meetings, as well as attend what we call intersessionary meetings.
Yes.
For particularly Panel 1, where Ghana belongs. But ICAT, like you said, is the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas.
Yes.
And that is so because per UNCLOS, shared species like tuna, which are internationally shared stocks, are supposed to be managed either at regional levels or at a broader international level.
Yes.
So for the Atlantic region, we have ICAT. We also have the Pacific organization that is responsible for managing tuna in the Pacific.
Yes.
So tuna is generally not a Ghanaian activity. It is done at ICAT. And key to ICAT is the Standing Committee on Science and on Research and Statistics. And what the Standing Committee, what we call SCRC, what the Standing Committee on Research and Statistics does is to do all year round research into the stocks levels of tuna.
Right.
Look into management regime. And so at ICAT, you have the standing committee presenting its report on the health of the tuna.
Right.
For our interest, Ghana particularly, we are interested in 3 types of tuna. The big eye, the yellowfin tuna, and the skipjack.
Big eye.
Yellowfin.
Yellowfin.
Yes, and the skipjack.
Skipjack. Hey, I see.
So those are the predominant tuna that we have.
Okay.
Of course, the most expensive tuna is the bluefin tuna, but we don't have them in our waters.
Okay. The most expensive is the
bluefin.
Bluefin, okay.
But we don't have them in our waters. They are generally around the Mediterranean.
We have the yellowfin. We don't have the bluefin.
We have yellowfin. We don't have bluefin tuna.
Okay.
They're generally in the Mediterranean.
Okay.
And what we call tuna-like species.
Okay, yeah.
So the tuna-like species, you'll be talking about the kingfish, the swordfish, or what we call the blue marlin, and other species that move with the tuna. There are also protectionist regime for sharks and other sea mammals, dolphins and all of that, so that you do not harvest them.
Okay,
so
that's
all these
sharks, dolphins, whales.
Yes, so all these discussions take place at the ICAT meeting, which generally happens in November, from the second week of November to around the 21st to the 2nd thereabout.
Right.
And so we've been to our last ICAT meeting in Cairo.
Right.
And we are back.
Cairo, Egypt.
Cairo,
that was in
Egypt.
Africa, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So next year we go to Cyprus. But what happens is that for our purposes and our interest, there's what we call the total allowable catch. And generally, the total allowable catch.
So before you come with the total allowable catch, I think there was a press statement by the Fisheries Commission of Ghana. Let me take that. And then we can come. I think I saw something regarding total allowable catch. This one is from the Fisheries Commission. It's dated 12 December 2023 and titled Moratorium on the Use of Fish Aggregating Devices. That's the FAD. Rec 2301, that's 1st January through to 12 January, March 2024. And it says the multi-annual conservation and management program for tropical tunas by ICAT would once again commence from the 1st of January through to the 12th of March 2024 throughout the conservation area. The moratorium restricts the use of objects that could affect fish aggregating, including fish aggregating devices, that's FADs, within the conservation zone. In this regard, Ghana is a contracting party to ICAT. Ghana, as a contracting party to ICAT, is to comply with the moratorium as per Rec 2301, paragraph 28. I believe that's what it means. We take note to ensure that FADs are not deployed during the period of 15 days before the start of the moratorium. And any vessel scheduled to operate within the moratorium should notify the Fisheries Commission, request an observer, and only fish on free swimming schools. These are technical terms we would have to elicit some explanations on from you. And so, first of all, yes, you were on this, but let me come up first of all. When you say a fish aggregating device, what does it mean?
So it means just what it says, device that is able to aggregate tuna. You see, you use the word free swimming school.
Yes.
Tuna swim very, very fast. But, a group of fish is called school.
Right.
And the rate at which they speed, if you fish them as they swim freely, it becomes very difficult for you to catch them.
Right.
And they are very fast-moving migratory species. So we use what we call fish aggregating devices. That brings them together. So they aggregate around the device. And so we have buoys. Sometimes when you go to the port, you find out we have baboons. And then, so we set those fat in the sea. And then the tuna aggregates around them. And so when they do, then it becomes easier to harvest them.
Right.
And of course, in Ghana, it's basically only tuna sector that is allowed to use fat. Almost none of the other sectors are allowed to use fat.
Right.
So for instance, the use of light in fishing is a use of fat. Because light fishing is fat fishing.
Right.
Because it aggregates the fish. So any device that
the light attracts the fish,
and aggregates them is called a fish aggregating device.
Okay.
So ICAT has regulation on the use of fish aggregating device. So the explanation is that the moratorium we are experiencing from 1st January is not a total closure.
Okay.
The moratorium is not saying we cannot do tuna fishing.
Okay.
But what it says is that you cannot fish on fat.
Right.
So you don't go lay fat and then go fish on them. You've committed an offense. But you can do free school fishing. So if the tuna is swimming and you feel you'll be able to fish them without fat,
yes,
you are free, to do that. So I remember some of our vessels had tried to do that, but we ended up losing so much because when you do free school fishing, it's so difficult to be. You need a very experienced captain to be able to do.
A very expensive?
Experienced captain to be able to do free school fishing. So the closure is on FAD. And ICAT has a whole FAD management regime. For instance, we are moving away from non-biodegradable materials in constructing the FAD to totally biodegradable material for FAD construction as means of conserving the marine environment and ensuring that you do not leave. And it's not just biodegradable, but non-entangling biodegradable.
Right.
Because when you have an entangling material, it does what we call ghost fishing.
Yeah.
So even when you are not deliberately fishing, because it's entangling, it ends up entangling fish and marine mammals. So we are moving into non-entangling fat, and then it must be biodegradable because you may lose your fat.
Yes.
I remember I've had an email from Texas saying that they found one of our Boeings in Texas. Because once you leave them, they swim.
I see.
And so they move by the current, so you may lose your fat.
But how are you able to tell that this one is from this particular area?
No, the fat are marked and they have communication materials with the vessels, so the vessels know where their fats are.
Okay.
Now, sometimes you have fishermen also stealing our fat and coming to sell the satellite equipment to the vessels again or demanding for money.
Right.
So fat is one major activity, and you have these measures because if you do not introduce management measures for fat, you are likely, because they aggregate fish, you are likely to, at some point, aggregate and fish gravid, that's pregnant fish, and also to fish juvenile, and it becomes a problem for conservation. So fat management measures are conservation measures to ensure that during the period we do not go fishing for fish. And these are basically advice from the SCRC, the Standing Committee for Research and Statistics. Now, beyond the fat, there's what we call the total allowable catch. The total allowable catch simply means that how much of a particular species we are allowed to catch within a certain period.
Right.
And for ICAT, the major focus on total allowable catch has always been on big eye tuna, because the big eye tuna is the most vulnerable amongst the 3 tropical tunas.
That's what I wanted. That was going to be my next question. Okay, I think that the FAD is being played on the screens right now. If you can see as a viewer, he would be able to explain better what this is. But I wanted you to give us a sense of what the big eye tuna is, what the yellow fin is, and what the skipjack is.
Well, like the name suggests, the big eye tuna, when you look at it, the eyes are a little, you see the fins are yellow.
Yes.
So those are yellow fin tuna.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then the big eye has bigger eyes.
Okay.
And then the skipjack, you find lines in them.
Okay. I can see.
So normally when you go to the port and you find our workers working, and they are separating them.
So they are separating them in big eye, skipjack, and yellow fin. Okay.
On 2 fins, on sizes.
Yes.
And on the type.
Right.
So they put yellow fin, and we classify them. We have yellow fin 1, yellow fin 2, yellow fin 3.
I see.
And then we have the jumbo. The jumbos are the big ones.
Right.
And then yellowfin 1, yellowfin 2. So 1 is bigger than 2,
Two,
and
okay.
2 is bigger than 3.
Okay.
And then we have the soda. And then generally we don't get a lot of the big eye tuna.
Okay.
Because they also don't reproduce as frequently as the skipjack does.
Yes.
Actually, the skipjack is not endangered at all. So we don't have it. But for skipjack,
you have some people in the sea, no fish, no future.
Yeah, if you overfish our stocks.
Absolutely, yes.
So the skipjacks are generally not, we are not too much concerned about them because they are in abundance. It's mostly the big eye tuna and the yellowfin, but the emphasis is always on the big eye tuna.
Right.
So for instance, for the whole of the Atlantic region, the quota that is available, or the total allowable catch for the whole of the Atlantic region is about 63,000 metric tons.
63 metric tons. 63,000 yes.
metric tons.
Okay.
And that is what would be shared among the countries on pro rata basis. So Ghana ranks among the first 6. So Ghana probably gets the highest in Africa. And when you know what your total allowable catch is for instance, big eye tuna, then you know what you can fish, because the smaller tack you have, the less you can fish, because once your tack ends, you cannot go fishing again.
Yes.
So that's the situation. And when you overfish your tack, you have to do what we call payback. So you need to now pay back. So they will now reduce your tack to be able to pay back for what you have overfished.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that at ICAT meeting are looked at.
Okay, so if you have a total allowable catch, it means that you allocated a quota.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, if you over catch or if you exhaust yours,
you have to stop fishing.
Exactly. How are they able to tell that you have been able to exhaust?
No, you are supposed to report your catches.
Okay.
And also to ICAT.
Okay.
Because it's also help in the policy formulation.
Right.
So you realize that we take observers on board, and then we also have port observers, and then we have fisheries officers who come to take samples of the fish, and we have to always return our catch information to them so that they know how much we are catching. And there is a template that is filled, so you definitely know what you are reporting. If you misreport, there's a way of finding out.
That's what I wanted to ask, whether you actually give, whether your reports are sacrosanct.
No, if you misreport, they will find you out. And I think at last ICAT meeting, Senegal was having challenges for having misreported their catches. So I won't say it is very watertight, but there's always a scientific way of knowing exactly what you are doing.
No, but I can't get it that I'm sitting somewhere and you are somewhere doing your fishing, and then you submit a report, and I'm able to punch holes into it and say, no, this is not the right figures you are giving me. How are they able to tell? That's what beats my imagination.
Because the fish also moves in proportion, so you'll be able to do some estimation based on what reports you have.
But they can be wrong. Yeah, well, you have margins of error.
Well, but there's always a possibility of margin of error that is set. But as much as possible, for the purposes of conservation of the resources, it is important that you are also truthful to yourself and report as
accurately as possible,
in order that we can all collectively manage our fisheries and our tuna.
Now, are there instances where this, what do we call it, this bluefin, perhaps they miss their way and they come into our area?
They are not tropical fish generally, so we've not had the occasion of seeing some bluefin. I probably have seen bluefin, but not in Ghana, mostly out of the country, because they are, in generally, watch out for the Japanese ocean market.
Yeah.
Bluefins are expensive. In 2018, which was the highest so far, one bluefin went for $3.8 million. So they are quite expensive fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you come again? $3.8 million?
Yeah.
Is that 1 ton?
No, one. You can Google it.
Just one?
Yes. They do auction on Japan market every year for bluefin. So the first to land, they give it special treatment.
Well, after you eat it, how voluminous, how big is it?
Oh, it's quite big. It could be
is it like a whale or a dolphin?
It could be as big as me.
So if you eat it, you go to heaven. That's why you have to pay $3.8 million.
They use them for sushi and sashimi.
Yeah.
You know sashimi? That's what they eat, the raw tuna.
Wow, I see.
Yeah, and it's nice. Sometimes you may have to try some. It's raw.
$3.8 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, but unfortunately, we don't have to bluefin.
Yeah.
So we are not able to sell those rates.
Now, if you find me on the sea, it means I'm going hunting for a bluefin. Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's come to Ghana, and I just want you to tell us what's your impression about our performances as far as the tuna sector is concerned. What's your assessment of our performance so far? You mentioned in your submission that when it comes to the quota, when it comes to how much we're able to get, Ghana in Africa perhaps is the leading market for it, and so we perhaps may take a bigger chunk. Well, tell us what our performance is.
Well, internationally, like I said, Ghana is highly regarded in terms of our stocks. We have on ICAT register we have 37 vessels. 17 of them.
We have 37 vessels.
Yes, on ICAT register.
Okay.
17 of them are pest seine vessels. And when we say pest seine vessels, they use net for fishing. So like the one that was shown,
yes,
they use net. And then we have 20 pole and line vessels. Pole and line, like the name implies, they use hook and line for fishing. And interestingly, of the 20 pole and line vessels, only 5 are currently active and working.
Okay. And the 15, what happened to them?
Well, you need to be able to break even.
Okay.
The cost of fishing operation is going very high by day. And you see, for pole and line, they employ more crew, so their wage bill is higher, but they are smaller vessels compared to the personers.
Okay.
And the issue of bait, they use what we call live bait. So they catch anchovy, Keta school boys,
right,
and then they keep them live. And then when they find the tuna, or they throw them at the tuna, so while the tuna eats, they pick them.
Okay.
With their hook.
So they use them as baits.
Yes,
for the tuna.
The tuna. Now it's difficult to harvest the bait, particularly when we have a law completely outlawing use of light.
Right.
Because use of light, which is an aggregating device, helps aggregate the anchovies more quickly. But now the situation is such that when a vessel goes to bait ground, where it goes to harvest bait, normally bait grounds are around Keta area.
Right.
It may take a week or two to be able to get enough bait to come and fish for a week or two.
Right.
Now, because the bait are not the target and they are of no commercial value directly to the vessel,
yes,
spending more time at bait ground means that you are losing money because you are burning oil and you are not getting your target.
Yes.
Then you come and then you fish, you may not even get much. Your bait may be finished. Then, because remember, once you throw the bait into the water, you're not getting it back. The fish may eat it or it may swim away. And then you come back to bait ground to get bait to go back.
Yeah.
So most of them are running at a loss. At some point, we have what we call collaboration. So if the bait vessels find fish around their fat, they can invite the personers that will ring them, and then they will share.
Okay.
But the process of sharing means that the personer will use a metal chute and then transfer what belongs to the bait boat into the bait boat.
Right.
But that is transshipment per our law.
Okay.
And our law does not permit transshipment unless it's done under authorized supervision.
Absolutely, sure, yes.
Now, so the EU would not accept fish that were harvested through collaboration, because it offends the law. And so they stopped. And once they stopped, with the cost of fuel going up, taxes and all of that going up, it means that they have to go out of business. And so most of the bait boat companies that do not have personnel to complement their are out of business. Yes. Even the companies that have personnel are thinking about dropping all their bait boats. So it may get to a point, if we don't salvage the situation, we won't have any bait boat at all.
Right.
But bait boats makes the nation proud. One of it is that it shows conservation, because people have problems with the persons fishing everything. So when you have bait boats, it helps conserve because you are selective in what you are harvesting. Unfortunately, we are losing that. It has premium price. So if a ton of person fish is going for 20,000, you may have bait boat going for 28 or 30,000.
Right.
Because it shows conservation. You know, things that are tagged eco are treated with some. But unfortunately, like I said, we are losing our bait boat. The other factor is that you need experienced captain to do bait boats. But we are losing all the captains, and the captains are Koreans generally. And we are losing them because we are also not able to pay them premium international price. And so you can't get captains to come and work and be paid peanuts because they are not catching enough.
Right.
And the last one is vessels to replace old vessels. Because, you see, when you want to replace a vessel, you replace them one on one. So if the vessel is 20 GRT, what we call GRT is gross registered tonnage, it means that you replace it with a 20 GRT vessel.
Right.
Or less. So the market for even used bait boat tuna is Japan and I think also Taiwan, Chinese Taipei. Unfortunately, we are not getting.
Right.
And even if you get, the cost is so high to be able to buy. So that is a key situation that we find ourselves. So you realize at some point, tuna used to be a leading non-traditional export for Ghana. Currently, tuna is dropping. The contribution for tuna in terms of foreign exchange earning is also reducing because we are losing on our efforts. Our cost of operation is going very high by the day. The demands on us as an industry is also going high. There's a lot of scrutiny on what we do as an industry. And so you need to tick all the boxes, right? There are new standards in terms of safety and security at sea. We have challenges when it comes to issues of piracy. Because tuna normally migrates more to the east, and so we fish generally from Qatar to Benin. So because you also have a lot of anchovies around those areas, which basically constitute the basic food for the tuna. Now, we are unable to fish around those areas because the Korean government had declared those areas high-risk areas because of activities of armed robbery, seas, and hijacking and all of that. Now, we can't go to Benin because we can go to Qatar because we now bought armed guards from the Navy.
Right.
But we can't go to Benin because the armed guard cannot go into other people's territorial waters, even when we have license to fish.
Right.
So it becomes a problem. You just fish around Ghanaian waters or you go into high seas to go and fish. And these are challenges because once you get into high seas, you are burning more fuel. Your cost of operation is going up. So we are having a lot of challenges because of all these situations that we are faced with. And that is why the personnel are surviving with marginal profits, but the bait boats or the poor line vessels are unable to survive.
You seem to have challenge, like you said, and I think the one particular challenge you have is with personnel, and that's the capacity or ability to attract good captains. You mentioned it, that you don't attract enough captains, and that means that you don't attract qualified or professional people that you can call captains. And this is not the first time you are mentioning this. You mentioned it when we were talking about the free swimming schools, and you said it would take a very good captain to be able to identify that a good, free swimming school to be able to enable you catch a good one, to make a good catch. Why is it so? Why is it difficult to attract the requisite manpower in terms of captains to man tuna vessels?
Well, in the first place, we need to admit that as a country we do not have local captains. So we don't have any at all.
Right.
So there are two places to look at it generally. You need to look at Spain or to Korea.
Okay.
But all our captains are from Korea.
Okay.
All of them. Now,
does that mean they are relatively cheaper compared to the Spanish captains?
No, because most of the partnership arrangements is with
Korea.
Koreans.
Okay.
Now, what happens is that most of the captains who are here have stayed for a long time, so they are old people, but they are the people we are keeping because younger captains are not coming.
Right.
Korea has a number of fisheries colleges.
Why are the younger captains not coming?
No, because fishing is so expensive, it's so difficult, but if they are doing normal cargo vessels and all that, it's easier, but that pays more.
Right.
Now, we have not made any conscious effort to build our own indigenous capacity.
Yeah, you made mention that they have a lot of schools in Korea.
So,
for
to be able
training.
to do that, you probably would have to now start thinking about training and building our own indigenous capacities in terms of captains. Because you need captains who have experience. And I tell people that you cannot just get up and go to Regional Maritime University, learn navigation and say, I want to captain a fishing vessel. You must be a fisherman
to
be able to fish, because the captains fish. They don't just navigate. They do fishing, actual fishing. All the fishing is done by the captain.
Right.
So you need an experienced fisherman who understands the terrain to be able to do that job. And that we do not have. And so we always have to rely on Korea most of the time to give us captains. And when you pay so low, $10,000, that may not be enough to attract younger captains. And so we are managing with the old ones that we have. Probably until we come to the realization as a country that we need to build capacity properly so that our own people can also be part of that process.
So what would you say would be the immediate impact of this particular closure from January 1 to March 12 stipulated in the release by the Fisheries Commission?
Well, some of the most important industries we have are the two canneries we have in Tema, Pioneer Food Cannery and Cosmo.
Yes.
And at least 80% or so of their tuna supply come directly from industry. So for this period that we are not fishing, I'm sure from 31st December, almost all the vessels will come to port. And we'll do our supply. But once we do the supply, they may not get another supply until around the middle to the end of April, when fishing vessels may start coming back from the closure. Because, you know, we are supposed to return around the 13th, but if you decide to take license for the 2 weeks, you'll be required to pay for a whole quarter fishing license, which is too expensive. So most of the fishing vessels will start fishing.
Is it too expensive? How much is it to renew your license?
We pay $135 per GRT of the vessel.
Per GRT? Yes. Please, you're on national television. No, it's not everybody that knows GRT.
No, GRT, like I mentioned, gross registered tonnage of the vessel.
Okay.
So
$135.
Yes. So basically, that's the dead weight of the vessel.
Okay.
And so if your vessel is 1,000 GRT, you pay $135 times 1,000 for the year.
Wow. Times 1,000?
Yes.
Gross registered tonnage. Okay.
So you pay $135 times 1,000.
That's huge indeed, yeah.
You get it? So, and that is divided into quarters. So if I don't fish for the first quarter, it means that first quarter license will be taken out. But if I decide to fish for the 2 weeks in that first quarter, I'll have to pay for the full quarter.
Wow.
Even though I have not fished from January to probably I start fishing from 13th March.
Yes.
And when I start going from 13th March, most of the vessels are not going to fish. They are only going to set their fat. So we pay for license only to go and set fat. And that is just on the high side.
Yeah.
The other issue has to do with the market women, because the local markets for the tuna industry are generally run by the women.
Yeah.
And we know women play a major role when it comes to keeping the home.
Yeah.
Now, for these 3 months that we are not fishing, it means that most of them will not have tuna to sell. And
so they'll be out of business for this while.
Those who buy tuna from the market for their meals would also not get tuna at some point in time. The effect may not be immediate, because from January to from 1st January to around 15th to 20th, most of the vessels that are at sea now will be discharging. So there will be a lot of tuna in the market. But getting towards the end of February into March, you may start feeling the impact of the unavailability of tuna. And because we've lost our small pelagic, I mean the sardinella and the mackerel, a lot more people depend now on tuna. So if you are not getting, then what it means that all of us now will tend to the coastals to depend on imported fish.
Yes.
And so basically that is one of the impact. Now, so for 3 months, the market sector is not operating. But we continue to pay our staff.
Yes.
Because our crew and office staff are permanent staff that we pay throughout the year. So whether there is closure or no closure, we'll have to continue to give them their basic salaries.
Yes.
And also pay for their social security and their taxes and all that. So the companies will have to deal with that. Whether we are fishing or not, we still have to deal with it, and it's a cost. Now, when we park our vessels at anchorage, so when we are not fishing, we have to park our vessels at anchorage. Apart from those that may go for, of course, it's an opportunity to go for dry docking and do maintenance and repairs. But those that are not going for dry docking or doing maintenance and repairs would have to park what we call lay the vessel up. The word is not park; it's actually lay up our vessels at the anchorage, and that comes with costs because you need to run your auxiliary engines in order to keep the vessel floating and to be pumping water out of the vessel. You need to keep security on the vessels because you can't just lay them up at the anchorage without security.
Yes.
You need to keep security in the vessel and pay the security so that they will monitor and watch all your fins in the vessel. So even though the vessels are laid up for 3 months and we are not fishing,
but they're still running because you accrue debts because you pay them. All right. Okay, so this is our report here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are taking a look at the impact of the closure of the Atlantic, for tuna vessels. And he says it's not a complete ban. You can go there, but the emphasis is on fish aggregating devices, which you cannot use. But, free, as it were, swimming schools, you are at liberty if you can afford to do that. And that's what we're discussing tonight with Mr. Rickster Ni-Ama-Mafio, who is the Executive Director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult, and also the Secretary of the Tuna Association here in our country, Ghana. And remember, this whole thing has come about as a result of Ghana's connection with the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the discussion. Please stay with us.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Fuel up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Goyle, good energy.
Goyle is good energy. Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating great opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. This is Iron Port, and we are tonight discussing the closure of the tuna vessels from fishing in the Atlantic following release by ICAT, that's the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, that we have to wait because we do not have to use fish aggregating devices, FADs, within 1st January through to the 13th of March, so that we can allow them some space, perhaps, to get some more, stocks. But it's not a complete ban, as we are told by Mr. Amama. He says you can go in there if you have the expertise to be able to go with the, free, what we call swimming school. That's if you have that expertise, you can go in and then you can continue fishing, but not to use any fish aggregating device. And that's what we're discussing tonight. We're taking a look at the impact on the local tuna industry. And there are so many interesting revelations he's given to us tonight. And we would want to continue to tap into that whilst we continue with the discussion. But please, you can call in now, I'm told, and contribute to the discussion. The number is right on your screen. It's 020-5528-353, 020-5528-353. We shall be going into the inbox and to come up with your messages that you've sent. I've seen some of them here. We shall be dealing with them. So let's continue with the discussion. Mr. Rixta Niamama Afio, who is the Executive Director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult, and also the Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, would want to find out from you how those in the tuna industry are supposed to adopt to this particular directive, how they will be perhaps able to fit in whilst this fallow period has been announced.
Well, for us, it's not a new thing. It is something that we prepare our minds for every year, because we know every year we would definitely have a closure. It used to be January and February until recently when, based on the report from the SCRC, what I said, the Standing Committee on Research and Statistics.
Yes.
Upon their advice that, especially for the bluefin tuna, we were losing the stocks, so we needed to add a bit more time. At the last ICAT meeting, we realized that the stocks had pushed up, and we're even looking at increasing the total allowable catch to about 72,000 thereabouts. But
now it's 63,000 metric tons. Yes.
When it came to issue of allocation, we had a lot of challenges because, like I said, it's allocated on pro rata basis.
Okay.
And so you have big countries like Japan, the EU, Chinese Taipei, that take a bulk of it, and then you have, others like Brazil and Ghana,
right?
That comes way behind them, but also with some, because Japan and EU, when they are taking close to 12,000 metric tons, around that range,
right?
And Chinese Taipei, Ghana may be taking around 3,900, Brazil may be taking around 4,000 or 5,000 something.
Right.
So some of the others may be getting 600, 500, because it's on pro rata basis, because it depends on your fishing capabilities,
right,
and how much you are taking, how much fish you are catching every year. And like I told you, we send our report to ICAT, because we pay ICAT dues every year as a country, and that is paid by industry, interestingly, for Ghana. And so every year we pay over 250,000 euros,
right,
to ICAT for being a contracting party.
As a country?
As a country. And the payment of ICAT dues is also dependent on how much fish you are catching.
Okay.
That is how the assessment is done.
Right.
And so we prepare our minds for it as a country, as an industry, because we know that from 1st January, none of our vessels will go fishing, or will go fish on free school. But generally, we won't go fishing.
Right.
So we use the period to also do dry docking, to make sure that our vessels are in good shape,
right,
and ready for the next fishing exhibition.
Right.
Because most of our captains are also from Korea, that also become the period for them to have some
to go back home
and go back home,
yeah,
and then
to reunite with their families,
family and all of that, and then reinvigorate and come back to work. So
it's not a bad idea after all.
Well, definitely, you need to find something to.
Yeah.
And then when you need to fix your net, that's a period to look again at your net, and then do the necessary fixing and prepare. So we use the period to actually prepare ourselves for the incoming fishing season.
Okay. All right. So I would want to. Okay, I understand. I would have to go and welcome Echo onto the phone lines. He's calling us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm terrific, by His grace. I
hope
you're good. You're good too.
A little. I think the best thing to have been done was to have a closure of this thing to the Tuna people entirely.
Come again, Echo, please. Hello.
Yes, entire closure. I mean, of the seas for the tuna vessels completely, because these Chinese and the Japanese vessels really ransack our seas, and I think something needs to be done urgently.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much indeed, Echo. He's calling us from East Legon. He says he is advocating for a complete closure because foreign vessels is what he's worried about.
There's a bit of a misunderstanding of the issues here. FAD closure is not a Ghanaian thing. It's an international thing.
Yeah.
So countries that are within the Atlantic, so the whole of Europe, our part of Africa, the Gulf of Guinea area, all the way to South Africa, and then some part of Asia that have relation, and then America and Canada that have relationship, and also South America that has relationship with the Atlantic. You know, the Atlantic is the biggest ocean.
Absolutely.
That has relationship with the Atlantic, all go through the same FAD closure. So it is not about Chinese or Koreans is not a Ghanaian thing.
Yeah.
It's an international thing.
Right.
Decisions are taken with all these international players.
Mm.
Now, one thing we need to know also is that in Ghana, tuna vessels foreigners are allowed 50% participation in tuna vessels.
Mm.
Why do we do that? Because the stocks are not Ghanaian stocks.
Yes.
They are internationally shared stocks.
Mm.
So our vessels go out of the EEZ into high seas to go and fish from the international or international waters, which do not belong to any particular country.
Great, okay.
So issues of tuna closure are not specific to Ghana. Or Koreans or Chinese.
It's an international thing.
It's an international thing.
All right. Okay, so let's go on to the phone lines and welcome Kofi Osu, who is calling us from Sakumono. Good evening, sir. Hello, good evening, sir. Mr. Kofi Osu, good evening. Hello, can you speak up, please?
Good evening.
Absolutely. Now, yes, please flow.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I would like to know. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Can you lower the volume on your TV?
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. I can hear you.
And how are you? I want to know what it takes to set up.
You are listening, Mr. Kofi. Can you lower the volume on your TV, please? Can you lower the volume on your? Okay, yeah, I think he was listening to himself. We couldn't clearly. If you can call back and just lower the volume on your radio set, your TV set, I beg your pardon, we'll be able to hear you much more clearly. And remember, the number to dial is on your screen: 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. So I was coming to you to find out how you're able to get your members to adhere to this particular directive every year.
Well, let me just share a little information that my senior colleagues in the industry just shared. So he was looking at the ranking of tuna, the cost, and then the bluefin ranges from $20 to $5,000 per pound.
Per pound.
Yeah.
$20 to $5,000. $5,000.
$5,000 per pound.
Yes.
And then the big guy is from $40 to $100 per pound. And then the fin is $30 to $35 per pound.
Wow. What about skip?
No, you didn't skip jack.
Oh, that's the common one.
The commonest one.
I guess it is the skipjack we all eat.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of yellowfin anyway.
Okay. You had a lot of
yellowfin.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, but you see,
please, let's before you come in, let's go back and get Kofi so we understand he's back on the line, and they will come to you. I'm particularly interested in that bit. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Great.
Again.
Now, if you have lowered the volume on your TV set, I think we can hear you. Let's go ahead, please.
Good. I want to know what it takes to set up an indigenous school training for captains.
An indigenous
captains training school.
Captain.
Yeah, I mean skippers.
An indigenous school for training captains.
Okay. What it takes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sure Mr. Matthew would proffer some.
What does it take? We, for instance, had engaged with the Regional Maritime University for a long period of time to set up a tuna faculty.
Right.
Because we need a whole faculty to deal with tuna issues.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you see, we don't have even trainers. We don't have fishermen at the Regional Maritime University who understand it and will do it. What happened during the days of Mr. Okran, Mankwazi Fisheries, was that he will go to the universities and pick some of the best engineers and best students, come and train them on the job, and subject them to examination and other things from the regional man, and then they are certificated. We need to have an industry-led processes. Some things have started. For instance, we are now training radio operators.
Yes.
At the Regional Maritime University, so that we have certified radio operators
on the vessels.
On our vessels. So now, if you don't have a certified radio operator, your vessel cannot work. Because in the days of piracy,
you need effective communication.
You need to have effective communication person on the vessel. So Ghana Maritime Authority would not give you certificates if you don't have a competent radio operator on your vessel. So all vessels you have certified. And then I'm sure probably one of the things we are going to do, we are still discussing, is to ensure that all our crew go through the 5 mandatories. What we mean is that they need to be trained to have the basic survival skills at sea.
Right.
Things like firefighting and swimming and all of that. They need to be certified.
Right.
And it is one thing that is coming. We are also improving on our crew health care needs.
Yes.
So every year we take all our crew to GMA designated health centers.
Right.
And medics to do thorough medical checkup on them.
Okay.
Before they are certified and allowed to board our vessels and go fishing.
Right.
Because we want to reduce the incidence of people who are not fit because of issues of job coming to say, I want to go fishing. You see, when the vessel go fishing, everything there is about safety.
Right.
Because there's no land there, there are no trees there. So safety is always number one. And we do not want to compromise on those things again.
Right.
So we want to ensure that the crew we carry in our vessels to go to fishing understands exactly what they have to do in case of emergency. They are fit in terms of medical fitness and all of that. What we need to scale up now to do more of the skilled-centered training, like engineering and issue of navigation for fishermen, so that we can have at least indigenous people, which will be less costly, in terms of, in looking at always importing skilled people, because you will not be allowed fishing if your skipper and engineers are not certificated.
Great.
They must have certificates to show that they have gone through academic training and qualified and competent enough to be able to man a vessel.
Right. Okay, this one says, good evening, I am Port. Another good topic for discussion once again. I am sad to hear there aren't any Ghanaian captains for fishing vessels. What is the most immediate step we can take to change this? Rista, this one is from Barbara in Tema.
Well, like I'm saying, we need to have a whole tuna faculty that will deal with our tuna industry. We don't even have a tuna research sector. Some of us have advocated that we don't need to continue to have tuna being held under the Fisheries Commission anymore. We need a tuna development authority like we have for Kokobot.
Yeah.
You see, we have a country that is pushing and driving towards a blue economy, a country that is pushing and driving towards a 24-hour economy. We probably may have to link the blue economy to a 24-hour economy and try to see how we can get our own people to drive these policies and have a national agenda that achieves successes in our fishing industry. We need to look at how to build indigenous capacity to be able to own and run businesses within the ocean space.
Right.
Because they don't just come. You can't just move in and say, I want to run a business within the blue space. It's not possible. There must be a conscious effort to build capacity.
Right.
Countries that are leading the way have built capacity. Look, we have a dry dock that is not doing anything. So
in 10 seconds, because our time is up.
Yeah, that is not doing anything. So, for instance, most of us would have to take our vessels to either Togo or Abidjan to do dry docking.
Right.
Because you need some efficiency. You need a dry dock that is run all day round. So when I send my vessel there, I know in 3-4 days, my vessel will be worked on, because people working there 24 hours to ensure that my vessel. So we need to do more. Government need to do more. We need to engage more to build a resilient tuna industry.
Okay. All right. So that's Mr. Rixta Ni Amamafio, who is the Executive Director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult. He's also the Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association. We've been discussing the closure of the Atlantic for tuna vessels, and he says it's not a complete, closure. If you can have the expertise to go and do the free swimming school, that's perfect. You can go and do that. But for fish aggregating devices, it's a no-no from the 1st of January through to the 13th of March 2024. And this is coming as a fact that Ghana is a party to the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas. And so that's the discussion we've been having tonight. With him, we say a big thank you to you, Mr. Richter Nee, Matthew. There are questions from you, Abna Mensah, and then Nikwe Inungwa. You would want to elicit some responses from him and watch that on the during the abridged version on Ghana Television on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. This is Metro TV. Well, thank you so much. I would like to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Guelph PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. Remember to continue to watch the rest of our programs here, and God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of Iron Port. My name is Kennedy Mona. So thank you so much for being a part of this program tonight, and we say have a super week ahead, and bless you for watching. Good evening.